I understand now. You're right. We're not compatible. I hope you find what you're looking for. This single statement contains everything an avoidant fears most: finality, acceptance of their decision, and the terrifying possibility that you've given up on them completely. When you say these words and mean them, you're not arguing with their assessment, not trying to change their mind, not negotiating for another chance. You're simply agreeing with their evaluation and walking away with dignity intact. The avoidant expects you to fight for the relationship, to plead your case, to try to convince them they're making a mistake. They've prepared themselves for your emotional reaction, your attempts to change their mind, your desperate efforts to prove your compatibility. But when you calmly agree with their assessment and wish them well, it creates a psychological earthquake that shakes their entire worldview. This response strips away the avoidant's power to hurt you further, while simultaneously making them question everything they believed about the relationship. If you're so easily accepting their decision, maybe they were wrong about your neediness. If you're wishing them well instead of fighting for them, maybe they misjudged your desperation. If you're walking away with grace instead of falling apart, maybe you're stronger than they realized. The avoidant suddenly finds themselves in unfamiliar territory, dealing with someone who isn't trying to change their mind, control their decisions, or make them feel guilty for their choice. This response forces them to sit with their decision without the validation of your resistance or the comfort of your pursuit. I've realized I deserve someone who's excited to be with me. This statement cuts to the core of the avoidance psychological framework because it reframes the entire dynamic in a way they didn't expect. Instead of begging them to want you more, you're calmly acknowledging that their lukewarm investment isn't enough for you. You're not making them wrong for being avoidant. You're simply stating that their style of loving doesn't meet your needs. The avoidant is accustomed to being pursued by people who accept crumbs of affection and interpret minimal effort as precious gifts. They expect their partner to be grateful for whatever attention they're willing to provide, to work harder for their approval, to prove their worthiness of the avoidant's limited emotional availability. When you state that you deserve genuine enthusiasm and excitement from a partner, it forces the avoidant to confront the poverty of what they were offering. They realize they were giving you the bare minimum while expecting maximum devotion in return. Your calm assertion of self-worth makes them question whether they were taking advantage of your patience and accepting nature. This statement also implies that you believe better treatment is available elsewhere, that you're not so desperate for their specific form of love that you'll accept whatever scraps they're willing to offer. The avoidant suddenly faces the possibility that you might find someone who's genuinely excited to love you, making their own emotional unavailability seem inadequate by comparison. Thank you for teaching me what I don't want in a relationship. This response is devastating to the avoidant's ego because it reframes their behavior as a learning experience rather than a tragic loss. Instead of positioning them as the prize you're fighting to keep, you're thanking them for helping you clarify your standards and showing you what healthy love should look like by demonstrating its opposite. The avoidant expects to be seen as the complicated, mysterious, ultimately desirable person you can't get over. They want to be your great love story, your one who got away, the person you'll compare everyone else to for years to come. When you thank them for teaching you what you don't want, you're reducing them from a romantic ideal to a cautionary tale. This statement suggests that your time with them wasn't wasted heartbreak, but valuable education. You're not devastated by losing them. You're grateful for the clarity their behavior provided about your own needs and boundaries. The avoidant realizes they might not be the unforgettable love of your life, but rather the relationship that taught you to value yourself more highly. The implication is that you'll use the lessons learned from their emotional unavailability to choose better partners in the future. The avoidant faces the possibility that their greatest contribution to your life was showing you what real love isn't, making you more likely to recognize and appreciate genuine partnership when you find it. I'm choosing myself from now on. This statement terrifies the avoidant because it suggests a fundamental shift in your priorities that doesn't include them at all. You're not choosing someone else over them, which would allow them to compete or feel jealous. You're choosing yourself, which means you've moved beyond needing external validation or romantic partnership to feel complete and fulfilled. The avoidant is used to being in relationships with people who prioritize the connection over their own well-being, who sacrifice their needs to accommodate the avoidant's emotional limitations. When you announce that you're prioritizing yourself, it signals that you've recognized the imbalance and decided to correct it. This choice implies that you've realized the relationship was costing you more than it was giving you, that you were diminishing yourself to maintain a connection with someone who wasn't fully invested. The avoidant faces the uncomfortable truth that loving them required you to love yourself less, and you've decided that trade-off is no longer acceptable. By choosing yourself, you're also suggesting that you've found something more fulfilling than trying to earn their love, your own self-respect, peace, and personal growth. The avoidant realizes they're not just losing you to another person, but to a version of yourself that no longer needs them to feel valuable and complete. The power of walking away without explanation. After delivering any of these statements, the crucial element is what you don't do next. You don't explain, justify, argue, or seek their understanding. You simply state your truth and withdraw your emotional availability completely. This silence forces the avoidant to sit with their choices without the comfort of your continued engagement or the validation of your pursuit.